And we are live. Welcome to the Political Orphans. My name is Nico Lagan, and I am your in-house conservative. To my left is Rob Ambrose, our token lefty, and together we review what's trending in the news. Our goal is simple. We want to show you that it is possible for a lefty and a righty to get along. And even if we don't, guess what? We can have a conversation like normal human beings. Because remember, common sense has no political affiliations. What's going on, brother?
How's you hanging, brother? How was your weekend?
Busy. I
Busy.
never fucking stop. So yeah, busy. We got there's some projects I'm working on right now that are going to be a game changer, especially Canada and the US.
Nice.
And it seems like it's coming together. I'll let you know what happens after this afternoon, but it seems that there's some beautiful things on the horizon, especially for the people out there that are looking for a platform somewhere that would be dedicated to free speech. You know, a place that they could go where there wouldn't be biases, that it would just be information from both sides, similar to our podcast. This is where the idea came from, right?
Land.
To find a place where the number one rule is free speech, not caring. I don't care about your opinion. If I agree with it or not, doesn't matter. What matters to me is for you to have the right to say so, and for people to finally be able to go somewhere where the opinions that are on there are from all sides, all perspective, all political affiliations, or they're not from political affiliation at all, right? You'll see, I'm just starting to hint it because we got some beautiful things on the horizon, but
foreshadowing a little bit.
Yeah, because man, you know that the show that we do, you and I, was kind of an inspiration for this, right? We want to be able to have a platform. We want to be able to have two people with different maybe different policies, different ideas, different views on how our governments or the world should work. Yet we realize quite often, more often than not, that we're pretty aligned, although we might have different ways of achieving that goal, but our ideology is not that much different. And I'd like to bring that to people where they don't even need to watch my stuff. They can watch other people's stuff and kind of make their own idea. It's just one place to have information that is not biased based on political affiliations.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the dream.
What's going on, Jason?
Jason, what's happening, brother? And now we're just waiting for Prairie to make her appearance.
You know, while we're waiting, let me ask you the question of the day.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
And you're going to have to answer it first, right? But the question of the day is, do you think that Trump should revoke these last minute pardons if he can find a way to do so? However, if it's the Autopen, do you think, you know what, we could keep it even shorter as a question, or as a second question. Do you think that presidents should be able to give pardons on the day they're leaving office? Like, do you think that should be acceptable?
I mean, technically, if they're president, you know, they have that power. I like the question. Do you think presidents should be able to revoke pardons? It'll be interesting to see how Trump kind of finagles this, because I don't think, I mean, we'll get into it, but I don't think it's gonna fly. The Autopen thing, it's worth a shot. It'll be.
He's such an ass. He's such an ass. I got a video about it. Did you see the video of him talking about it?
No, I haven't seen it.
You're welcome. I got a great video, and I'm like, you're such an ass.
I mean, that's what his fans like. I do think you're going down a slippery slope, though, because that means that the next president can just undo your pardons, and J6 guys might be whatever. But it's interesting. I mean, one thing that's just really interesting, wherever you stand about so far the Trump administration, is there's so many going to be test cases that are going to go through the courts. You know, we talked about Mahmoud Khalil, this one here. It's going to give us a lot of answers for questions I think we didn't even know we had. But I mean, however you stand on that, I think it's if you're a political watcher, a cultural watcher like we are, it's exciting times for sure.
There's the possibility of a lot of precedents. That is 100%.
Exactly.
I couldn't agree with you more. I'm very, very curious about this. So, guys, the question to you: do you think that Trump should be able to revoke because technically it's not just revoke pardons as a whole? From the way I understand it, is really the one that he did on the last day when he was getting inaugurated, like a few hours before the inauguration. Biden, that can't even stay asleep for more than 20 minutes at a time, is just like he's just pardoning people left, right, and center. So
just a pardon machine.
You think that exactly? So it's a slippery slope. You're absolutely right. Before we get to the video, we'll take Jason's comments because he's kind of a smartass, and I normally like his comments. So the real question is, what is happening in the world that they don't want you talking about? This is a headline. Yeah, that's a good freaking point.
Yeah,
that is a very good point.
Yeah, no, that is a good point.
Maybe Yemen, but as much as I don't want to talk about Yemen, because again, it's foreign policy, and I don't even think we should be involved in this shit, but they were attacking U.S. Navy, so I understand why they're in there. I just couldn't fucking
care less.
I follow, I know what's happening, and it's one of those things. Is it a necessary evil? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think
making a good point, but Jason's making a good point. For him to say that Sunday night, and just one of his rant posts, like blah, 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 blah. Every second word is in capital letter. Blah, 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 blah. What's going on in the world that we need to be focusing on this instead of the important stuff? That's a good point, Jason. I hope you have your tinfoil hat on, because that's some conspiracy there.
I follow a guy followed for years, just a smart guy, has takes on just about everything. Ben Hunt, his name is, but he's got this thing with media literacy, is always ask yourself, why now? Right? Why am I seeing this now? Now, if it's a topical thing, sure, I'm sure like it made sense that you're talking about 9/11 on September 12th, right? Because it happened the day before. But stuff like this, why now? Right? Why are we seeing this now? And kind of to what Jason is saying, what do they not want to see? The whole classic Houdini, right? Look over there so you don't see what's going over here kind of thing.
Governments do that, huh? I didn't realize they did.
And Prairie, there she
Prairie.
is. Today.
Yeah, what's going on, Prairie? We actually were wondering where you were, so
yeah, we were waiting for you.
The show wouldn't be the same if you weren't around. So
no, we love our regulars.
So Prairie, question to you. Do you think that Trump should be able to revoke the last minute Autopen Biden pardons?
That's like you said, it's not necessarily every pardon he's trying to undo. It's the ones, and his reasoning. It's a very interesting legal strategy. The reason he's got, because I think we were laughing about it maybe last week or something, that Joe Biden is so feeble that he just has a rubber stamp with his signature and he just stamps that.
Turns out it might be true.
Yeah. Well, that's the argument. Is how do we know this really came from the president if it was just a stamp? Not sure it'll be successful, but interesting strategy for sure.
And Prairie is saying absolutely. So there you have it. Now I got a video. So let's play a video, because I found this video. It's, of course, was it the left? Was it the right? I don't remember who actually speaks about who. See, I look at so many different media outlet. I don't even remember where they're from. So let's play this video, because there is a part where Trump's actually speaking, so it makes it just fucking funnier. But hey, there you go. Here's the video.
President Trump doubling down over the weekend on his claim that his predecessor, Joe Biden, used an auto pen to add his signature to crucial documents. Mills Hayes is here with us this morning. So, Mills, describe this to us. What exactly is an Autopen? And is there any evidence that President Biden was heavily relying on one, like President Trump claims?
Well, good morning, Marky. Happy to be back here. An Autopen is a device that replicates someone's signature. It's something that
I actually like that they're taking the time to explain what an Autopen is.
I was
So
just
tell us what an Autopen is.
I was just thinking, like, just Trump has the media in the palm of his hand. He says whatever ridiculous nonsense he wants, and they go off scurrying, chasing after it, to like taking it super seriously. Describe, we have an expert on Autopens here. Just it's hilarious.
You know, let's go back to what Jason was saying. You know what it might be? Trump just invested billions in Autopen makers. So he brought that up so he can make money.
It's big Autopen
investment.
Big Autopen. They don't want you knowing.
It's not big. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Big Autopen.
It's just right up there.
Oh, of course. Maybe that's it, Jason.
Maybe they're too powerful, man. We got to break up the Autopen monopoly.
Yeah, maybe Jason, as you're sipping your Starbucks coffee right now, maybe that's exactly
his pumpkin spice latte. And the mean streets of where is he from?
Hermosa Beach.
Hermosa. The mean streets. Yeah. Hermosa.
It's often used to sign autographs for fans, and it provides an identical signature every single time, like almost a stamp. It's common knowledge that presidents use the device too. Harry Truman, believed to be the first U.S. president to do so almost 100 years ago. But the White House doesn't exactly broadcast that they're doing it for obvious reasons. The issue here, according to President Trump, is how much his predecessor was allegedly relying on it. And overnight.
And you see, that actually is a good point. Like, how much was he reliant on it? It's just the one step. Was he even the one using it?
So that's the big question. I don't think anyone begrudges a president some time-saving device. The question is I think why it's important here is because it fits very neatly in with the narrative of how competent mentally was Joe Biden, and at what point, like, you know, there's no doubt by the end of it, he was not intellectually competent to be president. That's just a fact. No. The question is, when did that start? Did that start his whole presidency? Was that 2 years ago? Was that a year ago? And then, like, you know, who's making these decisions? And that's where I think it's relevant.
I agree. But don't forget, Truman used it, so it's okay.
Yeah, almost 100 years ago.
But I like how they're talking about superstars, and they're just they're just okay. Hold on there. Like, Donald Trump is not going through thousands and thousands. Like, presidents are not signing 20,000. Like, we're not talking about an autograph here. Like, we're talking about something that's stuck to a piece of legislation that's fucking
it's like pretty important. It's pretty important.
Like, but it is true though. You know what? I didn't think about that when I first watched it. It is true that Biden signed those pardons like he was signing autographs for his fans.
Which is essentially what he was doing, right? But yeah, like, it's one of those things where if the president is clearly mentally competent and there aren't any issues, like, let's just take an example that's not Trump or Biden. Let's just say Obama or George W. Bush. If they're using that to save time, I don't think it's an issue whatsoever. But if there's already a narrative of, is this guy even in charge anymore? That's when it becomes a little relevant.
The president upping the ante, posting that the pardons signed by President Biden are, quote, hereby declared void, vacant, and of no further force or effect because of the fact that they were done by Autopen. In other words, Joe Biden didn't.
Truth should have an option. You know, there's certain news outlet that you, instead of reading the article, you can just click on the voice and it will read it for you. Truth should have that for Trump. They should have an AI Trump
in Trump's voice.
His post. Oh yeah, in Trump's voice. Because I can't read this. I cannot read this in a normal. No, I cannot say the pardons that Sleepy Joe Biden gave to the unselected committee. I can't read it like that.
No,
all I could see is this and just
declared void, vacant. And so I'm revoking this pardon. It's an incredible revoke. You've never seen unbelievable revoking.
It's the best revokes. It's gonna be the best revokes in the world.
Yeah, they've never seen anything like it.
Not sign them. He continues those on the unselect committee, referring to the House committee that investigated January 6th, should, quote, fully understand that they are subject to investigation at the highest level. The fact is that they were probably responsible for the documents that were signed on their behalf without their knowledge or consent. This claim originated from the Heritage Foundation's oversight project. They highlighted signatures from pardons that the president signed, including those for Anthony Fauci, Mark Milley, and the January 6th committee. They allege the signatures are identical, suggesting the use of an Autopen. They contrasted those signatures with the one announcing Biden's withdrawal from the 2024 presidential race, which they say is noticeably different. The president suggested on Truth Social, quote, the person who was the real president during the Biden years was the person who controlled the Autopen. Here's
I like how that organization that's questioning it, when he decided not to be president anymore, that was real. That one was real. But all the rest,
yes, of course. Yeah,
but that one was real.
When it suits the narrative, it's real. But when it doesn't, here's stuck in the middle. Was that Trump or Mr. Burns? Yeah, I got to work it. Is that you saying Boo or Boo Earns? I've actually got a better Mr. Burns. I should probably work on my Trump. Jason's got a good Trump.
But that's why I can't do it. Like I'm terrible at imitating people. I can barely sound like me. So
what President Trump first said about the claim.
This is hilarious that they're going this deep into the forensics.
No, hold on. This is probably the best part. You're like, it's so easy to not like Trump, right?
Even if you like him, it's easy to not like him, right?
Crooked Joe Biden got us into a real mess with Russia and everything else he did, frankly, but he didn't know about it. And he, generally speaking, signed it with Autopen. So how would he know? That Autopen is a big deal. 99% of the time I say do it, but they come up and I sign it. But you don't use Autopen. It's number one, it's disrespectful to the office.
Marky, so far, no response from President Biden or anyone who worked in the Biden White House. But again, this is something that presidents do use and have used for decades. President George W. Bush's Justice Department actually made a legal argument that an Autopen signature is just as valid as the president's handwritten signature when it comes to signing bills. Marky?
Fascinating. A lot more to come.
So I just think it's... nothing's gonna happen out of
nothing's
this.
Gonna
like
happen.
This is just Jason's making a good point, right? What are they trying to hide right now? The only thing, though, when I saw that, when you sent me this morning, like when you sent me the post, I'm like, the only thing that I could hope is that he does overturn one pardon. There's just one that I really
I know
care
who you're
about.
gonna say,
Dr. Fauci. And because imagine this, man, you have the leader, the health minister or the health secretary is RFK. Imagine RFK being allowed to team up with Pam Bundy and go after him for what he did during the events that we all know between 2021 and 2024. Can you imagine? This is the only thing that matters to me is, man, can you imagine being able to enable RFK to go after Fauci using Pam Bundy to actually do so? Because legally he can't, but he would be able to put a committee together and actually ask him the hard questions without allowing him to just fucking be a politician. He would have to answer the questions, and then you could use Pam Bundy's power to go after him with serious consequences like treason and crimes against humanity. Because, man, even in Canada, the policies that he's put in place when he was responsible for the CDC / the HHS there had an impact on us. We followed what that guy said, right? Nobody can argue that what he did had consequences. You can argue they were good, they were bad, he was in the right, he was in the wrong, but I would love to have a committee grill him for real without the protection of a pardon.
Yeah, of course. Now, like, you know, we've obviously kind of been laughing and joking about this topic so far, but that's an important point to discuss, because I think that one pardon is so consequential. It almost makes you wonder if all the other ones are just a cover for this one, right?
10
just
years.
Yeah,
and don't forget that it went back 10 years, like 6 years prior to really what he's done. So again, like Jason would say, what the fuck are they hiding with a 10-year pardon? Like, what the fuck's that about?
Well, yeah. And like, again, I'm not as sort of well versed in the Fauci stuff as you probably are, but I did look into that book that we've talked to. I think it was Jason that recommended it.
The real Dr. Fauci.
The real Dr. Fauci, written by RFK Jr. And the one thing that Jason was saying that kind of perked my ears up was the stuff he's saying in this book is so defamatory that if it is not true, there's no way Fauci could allow that to not sue for defamation. Of course, he hasn't, and we know that that's a fact. And of course, we all know that the best defense against defamation is truth. If what he's saying is true, then it is not defamation. And so that right there sort of made me perk up a little bit. And I haven't read the book, but I've looked into it. And the accusations that are there, if true, I do not believe a pardon should be given. Like that is just because, like you said, the consequences to the entire world of those policies. I'm not saying necessarily charge the guy like you are. I'm saying a real investigation probably needs to happen. And if warranted, then there should be charges just because of the incredible effect that has had, an incredible, not necessarily in a good way, just such a massive effect that those policies that he put in affected the entire world. And so again, I'm not quite in the pitchforks and fires like burn. I know you are, but I am like, okay, I do want to get to the bottom of this, and I do not think if what RFK is saying in that book is true, that he should be covered by any type of pardon, because that is that just the effect that has had on the entire world. You said treason. Yeah, I don't know, maybe, but crimes against humanity, that sounds like something that could stick. Again, if what's in that book is true, and I'd like to see that played out somewhere.
But the fact that even somebody like you would
is
like
even
to
here
investigate exactly my point. So although I sit completely on the other side of the spectrum, as in that dude should be, I can't even say on this podcast right now without getting in trouble what I really think of this guy. But all to say that I'm completely on the other side. But if there's somebody like you that really doesn't know much about him, but understands that he was so influential, like nobody can disagree. Nobody can debate the fact that guy was one of the most powerful faces during
the U.S. The U.S. led the response from the entire
100%. 100%.
So it isn't just an American thing.
Nope. Let's see if Jason's gonna get us in trouble.
Jason, I have a hard time believing that Joe Biden saw the Cash for Kids convicted judge case and said, "Yeah, that's my guy signing this." Yeah, that's an insane one. If the audience, if you're not familiar with that, that's that sleazy shithead judge who was taking money from a for-profit boys' home, like basically a juvenile detention center, in order for provide them with bodies, right? So whatever these young kids, 14, 15, 16 were coming up in front of them, some of them is for skipping school. He's like, yeah, go there for 6 months, go there for a year. Lives are destroyed. Some of them killed themselves. And this is the worst of the worst. This guy should have got the death penalty, to be honest. And to pardon that guy.
That's a good point from Jason. That just gives a bit of validity. So if he was able to, did he really sign the rest? Exactly. Because, in a court of law, all you need to do is to show that there's potentially something that happened. It's to cause doubt, right? It's really to put that doubt in front of the judge and in front of the jury. Normally, where is there doubt? That's a good point what Jason is making.
I don't believe Joe Biden is evil. I don't think he's an evil person. I think he's just mentally incompetent. He just should not have been president. I think if he had his full faculties and that pardon came in front of him, I don't know that I'd be surprised if he signed it. What is the benefit? There is no benefit unless someone, unless he's taking money or something.
I don't think I have not the same views as you. I think he likes to sniff.
Evil?
I think he likes to sniff.
Yeah.
Without going into further detail, I think that's pretty clear to people.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
So that's the thing. I think that he really, really likes to sniff. There's videos, evidence of it. Don't look good. I do not believe he's a good man.
He's a sniffer, and it's not drugs. It's not a drug problem.
No, that's his son.
Yeah.
He sniffs. He sniffs different things.
Talking about fucking fentanyl, like fucking half of it's up Hunter's nose, for fuck's sakes.
And the rest is in his pockets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, he should be locked up. He should be locked up
under the jail. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna play the devil's advocate voice of reason and say if he
so
is
you're gonna play Fauci?
Yeah, basically. Ooh, hi-oh.
Yeah.
Did you get no? You gotta get those sound effects set up. Jason, it got zero media coverage. He's talking about the book, The Real Dr. Fauci. And I couldn't find it at the bookstore, but somehow it was still #1 on the New York Times bestseller list for a few weeks. So, I mean, people are reading it, but it is interesting how that got zero media coverage, right? Like that those are explosive allegations made in that book. And it's by RFK is a lifelong Democrat. You may not agree with him on vaccines, but he's not a kook. He's a serious person. And if he makes an argument like that, you at least need to consider it. And then the fact that Fauci did not do any response to it whatsoever
is telling.
And
he got a pardon for it.
Yeah.
Everything. The best. Do you remember his answer to that? He's like, "Yeah, but you know what? I don't need the pardon because I did nothing wrong." Hey, guy.
I don't think it.
I did the research, and you could refuse it. It has been done in the past. So
well, I have to. I can't say no. No, you can. You can.
Yeah,
I can't.
No, but I can't. It's a gift. It'd be disrespectful.
Yeah, exactly. It would be disrespectful to Sleepy Joe.
Yeah, sure. Cool story, bro.
Yeah. Perry agrees with Jason.
And yes, Jason.
Guys, has anyone ever seen Dallas Buyers Club? The bad guy in the movie was Dr. Fauci. Are we saying literally, like it actually was Dr. Fauci? Oh, I didn't know that.
The movie called Dallas Buyers Club with Matthew McConaughey
about AIDS,
about
gay men with AIDS in the early 90s, late 80s.
Let's not lie that unfortunately, this is most people with AIDS are gay people, but especially gay men.
Sure. Yeah,
in the massive majority.
This is factual.
Like in North America, I mean, obviously there's different countries, but in North America, absolutely. But yeah, he's right. Like he was the bad guy in that story.
So what was that then? He was like not allowing these men to get the drugs that would save their lives.
Matthew McConaughey I can't remember where. I think he goes somewhere down in South America. I think in Mexico. And he starts smuggling drugs like pharmaceutical across the border in order to bring them into the US, and then he sells them to people as a treatment plan. Okay. And there's always big pharma going after him for what he's doing because he's putting, and it's been a while since I've seen that movie, but he's kind of putting big pharma in trouble because he's removing some of their patients with a new type of medication that works better. And that's what the person that's going after him, that's behind all the lawsuits and shutting them down, was Fauci.
I don't have an opinion on ivermectin, but that kind of sounds like what they did.
Yeah.
Shut down under, of course, the guise of keeping
dewormer. It's just a dewormer. You're actually going to take a horse dewormer.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, if someone wants to take something to cure themselves,
AZT, AZT, that is the name of the medication that.
Yes, that's right.
So Jason is saying, based on a true story, referring to Dallas Buyers Club, the movie that won a bunch of Oscars, and Fauci handled the AIDS epidemic. He fast-tracked AZT, which killed people faster, and this is also in.
Wow.
The movie itself. Yeah, the movie is fucked up. Matthew McConaughey lost so much weight for that
movie.
Oh,
yeah.
He never recovered, eh?
No.
Did you ever see? He got so old. Oh, yeah.
He aged.
I don't care how much money you would give me. I would not take a role like that where you're asking me to weigh 125 pounds going down like, hey, lose 80 pounds for a role. Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, well, Chris, I
No.
think he thought it was going to give him an Oscar or something.
But I
Christian
think
Bale,
he did win an Oscar.
did he win one? Okay, well, maybe he
I
feels
think
it was
so.
worth it. I mean, and it's also Matthew McConaughey. I feel like he's got that pretty locked down. He probably doesn't have too much trouble, you know, getting a piece here and there when he wants to. But yeah, you're right. He aged so much. I know Christian Bale. Christian Bale did the same thing for a movie called The Machinist.
He
did recover.
He recovered.
Yeah,
he did one. I'm just looking. It was in 2014. He won for Best Actor as Matthew McConaughey for Dallas Buyers Club. Yeah, Best Actor. Yeah, so he did win.
Maybe feels
it was worth it. Yeah, looking like shit is worth a little statue.
Yeah,
good on you, bro.
He suffers for his craft. I would do it.
You know, man, it's your body. You can do whatever the fuck you want. I guess you're not. In that case, you're just hurting yourself. So, no, whatever.
All right.
Whatever, bro.
Yeah.
Now this is something I'm so happy Jason is in the audience and watching this. I have a video for him.
Is he just gonna be fuming?
No, but he kind of it's the Machinist, Jason, by the way. Jason saying that Bell did play Rescue Dawn, but he was even skinnier in the Machinist. Like you have him parties, is just like showing his back. You're like,
he's like Gollum. Yeah.
But he recovered.
Because he went on to do the Batmans after
Batman, where he added a bunch of weight.
Yeah,
he actually looked good in the Batman. Like
those movies
they're my favorite. The trilogy, especially the two first one.
Yeah,
the first one and the second from
and the Joker.
Oh, with Nolan as the director / special effect everywhere guy. Yeah, those were good. Like the Joker is so cool.
For me, it was Heath Ledger's Joker is one. Then I'd probably go to it was the one with where Michael Keaton was Batman and it had Danny DeVito as Penguin and Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. That was my number 2. And then the third would be
Michael Keaton. I don't know why I'm a fan too. I don't know his politics. I don't know what he stands for because I don't think he talks about it.
Yeah,
he's probably a massive liberal, but it's just.
I feel like if you're a Hollywood celeb and we don't know your politics, you're probably conservative.
I agree. You know? Or you just know that it's hurting your brand and it doesn't
exactly. You know you can't talk.
You're smart enough to know get away, just stay away from it.
Yep.
But I do like that. But the reason I'm bringing up Jason outside that he's sending a bunch of comments is that Mark Rubio yesterday. Did you see what he said about Mahmoud Khalil? Because just to put it into perspective, did you see it? Because he's Secretary of State, right? So he has a very fucking important title, important job. And yesterday he just fucking ripped into a reporter / journalist.
Okay.
I'm air quoting this because they ain't fucking reporters / journalists. But man, he rips. I didn't see a 3-minute
but I saw a headline. It was like Rubio destroyed. You know how that reporter.
It is no. By the end,
because a lot of times,
it is like
they say it and it's not. But
he raw dogged her like no lube, nothing. Like, it was
raw.
She felt it. She might be pregnant right now. Actually, she might be pregnant with little Rubio. Let's check the video. And Jason, that one's for you. I hope. Move your Starbucks coffee away from your hands. Just move the cup away and listen to this. That's for you, Jason.
Ask you about a decision you made to revoke a student visa for someone at Columbia University this past week. The Wall Street Journal editorial board writes, the administration needs to be careful. It's targeting real promoters of terrorism, not breaking the great promise of a green card by deporting anyone with controversial political views. Can you substantiate any form of material support for terrorism, specifically to Hamas, from this Columbia student? Or was it simply that he was espousing a controversial political point of view?
Well, not just the student. We're going to do more. In fact, every day now we're approving visa revocations. And if that visa led to a green card, the green card process as well. And here's why. It's very simple. When you apply to enter the United States and you get a visa, you are a guest. and you're coming as a student, you're coming as a tourist or what have you. And in it, you have to make certain assertions. And if you tell us when you apply for a visa, I'm coming to the U.S. to participate in pro-Hamas events, that runs counter to the foreign policy interest of the United States of America. It's that simple. So you lied. You came, if you had told us that you were going to do that, we never would have given you the visa. Now you're here. Now you do it. So you lied to us. You're out. It's that simple.
But
it's
is there
straightforward.
Like, it's going to continue, but I wanted to pause it there because this is the stance that you and I have had.
Yep.
Where is this
from the
really the type? But he brings an interesting point that I didn't think about. Did you? Because it's true that I'm on a visa right now in the US. I'm on a visitor visa. And it's true that I need to promise not to commit crimes and all that type of stuff, that I'm going to be a good guest in the US.
Sure.
But he makes a good point, right? If you have I'm not sure how legal that is, but he makes an interesting point saying that if you came here on a student visa and you obtained a green card, so I think that's what he's saying about Khalil, which I couldn't find that. All I can find is he's at a green card, but he probably would know a lot better than I do. But to say that if you came here on false pretenses, we can kick you out. I personally cannot agree with that. Actually, I agree. I cannot disagree with that. I agree with that 100%. If you came, and I don't care that it's the US and I don't care that it's Canada. If you come on a visa, it doesn't matter that's a visitor visa or it's a student visa, and you say that you won't do certain things, that you will respect the law, and some of your actions lead to people breaking the law.
Well, yeah, and what he's
doesn't look good.
What he's talking about there is, and you would probably know, but when you're filling out the green card, like you have to make certain assertions, right? I will not engage in criminal behavior. But what the specific one Rubio's talking about there is, he says, I will not engage in anything that is counter to the foreign policy interests of the United States. And if you are, supporting Hamas, that is directly counter to the foreign policy. Now, if you want to get to me, that's where the debate really lies. Was his activities actually supporting Hamas, or was it just Palestinian people? Because those are two different things. But I think, on Thursday we went through, point by point. And to me, it's pretty clear that his activities cross that line.
I'm gonna, like I said the first time we spoke about this almost 2 weeks ago, I said that every time there's an update, I will bring it up so that we can add to what's going on. And I found that video to be very common sense. However you feel about Rubio, what he's saying is very common sense. And he's not, like, the video is only a third through right now, but you'll see that he keeps on making sense. And even the reporter cannot debate him. She tries to cut him off, and I don't know if she's just trying to stop him from saying what he's saying, or she's just trying to put her point is, but at no point is she making a valid point or a valid argument. He keeps on just like blah, 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 blah. He's just fucking ding, 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 ding. At the end, they should have had like a ding, 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 like knockout.
Yeah.
Just like we're done.
And just before we get started, restart that, at the beginning of this clip, she quotes the Wall Street Journal editorial saying, we want to make sure that we're not actually persecuting people just for different political opinions. And I would agree with that. I think that it's important that they make sure that they don't do that. But at the same time, it seems clear to me that in this specific case, Mahmoud Khalil, that is not what he is doing. Like, that's not what's going on. It isn't just supporting the Palestinian people, which would have been valid. It's overtly, supporting the eradication of Western civilization. The people who live in Western civilization, i.e. us, we might have an issue with that.
It really seems like it's going to come down to what his intentions were and how they impacted the protests at Columbia University, and what can he be held responsible for that group of protesters that occupy the Hamilton Hall.
Hamilton
that
Hall.
was breaking. That was clearly take them afterwards. Let's finish the video.
All right, we'll finish the video.
It doesn't show up well at the bottom when they're all on top. So let's finish the video.
But is there any evidence of a link to terrorism, or is it just his point of view?
Yeah, they take over I mean, do you not? I mean, you should watch the news. These guys take over entire buildings.
We
they
covered
vandalize colleges.
intensely.
They shut down
I'm
colleges.
asking about the
well, then you should
specific
know
justification for the revocation of his visa.
He's telling
was
you.
there any evidence of material support for terrorism?
Was the negotiator negotiating on behalf of people that took over a campus, that vandalized buildings? Negotiating over what? That's a crime in and of itself, that they're involved in being the negotiator, the spokesperson, this, that, the other. We don't want it. We don't need these people in our country. We never should have allowed them in the first place. If he had told us, I'm going over there and I'm going over there to become the spokesperson and one of the leaders of a movement that's going to turn one of your allegedly elite colleges upside down, people can't even go to school, library buildings being vandalized, we never would have let him in. We never would have let him in to begin with. And now that he's doing it and he's here, he's going to leave, and so are others, and we're going to keep doing it. And by the way, I find it ironic that a lot of these people out there defending the First Amendment speech, alleged free speech rights of these Hamas sympathizers, they had no problem, pressuring social media to censor American political speech. So I think it's ironic and hypocritical. But the bottom line is this. If you are in this country to promote Hamas, to promote terrorist organizations, to participate in vandalism, to participate in acts of rebellion and riots on campus, we never would have let you in if we had known that. And now that we know it,
is it only pro-Palestinian people who are going to have their visas revoked, or are other points of view as well?
Vandalize buildings.
No, I think anybody who's here in favor. Look, we want to get rid of Tren de Agua gang members. They're terrorists too. The president designated them, asked me to designate, and I did, as a terrorist organization. We want to get rid of them as well. We don't want terrorists in America. I don't know how hard that is to understand. We don't want people in our country that are going to be committing crimes and undermining our national security or the public safety. It's that simple. Especially people that are here as guests. That is what a visa is. I don't know where we've gotten it in our head that a visa is some sort of birthright. It is not. It is a visitor into our country. And if you violate the terms of your visitation, you are going to leave.
Okay.
Ding, 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 ding. Fight over by knockout.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, he's hard to argue with what he's saying.
He was on, huh?
And again,
like Rubio or not, like what he's done in the past, what he stands for. On this case right now, it's hard to fucking disagree with him, because to me, all he said, I don't care who Mark Rubio is, what he stood for in the past, or what I know that he is the Secretary of State. And he was bang on this one. And you could see the reporter had nothing for him.
Nothing.
Yep. Because it's hard to argue common sense. Because I totally agree with him. If you're going to come to my country with ill intentions, why would we let you in? And especially if he lies, because it's true. If I start doing, as a visitor to the US, I start doing stuff like that in my actions, we're not talking just being part of a quiet protest here. We're talking being the face, and they keep on repeating that, right? He was the main negotiator for a group of people that ended up breaking and entering into the Hamilton Hall. This is the thing. They have a very solid case for crimes were committed. That was an occupation of a building, and they didn't do it legally. They actually broke in. We saw the videos, hammer, they're breaking into, and they occupied it. That's, as we pointed out last week, it's a military term, right?
Well, yeah, and if he's elected negotiator by this group, he's clearly a leader in the group. He clearly is held in high esteem, and this is how leadership works. If he had said, "Guys, knock that off. We're here to be peaceful," they would listen, because that's how leadership works within a group. The fact is, they're probably doing that. We can make some pretty obvious inferences. If you're a leader in a group, and then the group goes on to commit crimes, you can be held responsible. It's just that simple. Donald Trump certainly was. You've brought that up several times. So if you think it was valid that he was impeached for January 6th, he wasn't out there in the Capitol. He wasn't destroying stuff. So even whether Khalil directly was out there destroying stuff is irrelevant. He clearly is a leader. He's a spokesman for this group who did those things. And I know, a lot of people are going to get caught up in the legal terms and there was this and that, but it's really not a legal argument. It's just a common sense argument. Do you want people to come into your country to cause problems or not? That's it.
I couldn't agree with you more, because this is what we've been saying for 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, is this the type of people that you want in your country? Plain and simple. You don't have to. You can debate the legal argument all you want. Is this the type of people that you want? Because at the end of the day, it's not only the type of people. Do you want liars in your countries? Like, even if, let's say that guy was not supporting pro-Hamas, right? Is this the type? He lied. Because I know for a fact, I've signed many visitor visas to the US that I needed to go through custom, agree to what they tell me. And you know what? There's certain specification that you need. There's certain rules you need to enforce. They need to enforce. I need to respect. Because as Rubio said, I'm a fucking guest in the country of the United States. I am not here. It's not a birthright for me to be here. This is, I'm lucky that they allow me in. This is, I'm not, it's not, birthright is such a great word that he used. This is not something that I deserve. They gave it to me and I take it seriously. I am a guest in the US.
Exactly. And honestly, I really think the best analogy to think about immigration issues is your own home. It is just basic courtesy that you would extend to someone and how you would behave in someone's home. You know, if someone invites you into their home, anyone who's not a total retard understands that this is a courtesy that they're extending to you, and they are honoring you by allowing you into their space. And with that goes certain responsibilities and expectations of behavior. I can walk around, barefoot, buck naked, scratching my balls in my living room of my own house. That's no problem at all. But I'm not going to do that in someone else's house if they've given me the honor of extending an invite into it. So, I mean, and that kind of goes to, like, if he were a citizen, then all this is moot. Like, he's allowed to say whatever he wants, but he is not. He is a guest, and it's really that simple. If I'm an American, do I want these kind of people in my country? And if the answer is no, which I believe it is, then who cares about what legal loopholes there might be? Just go to Jason's comment here, which is kind of what I'm talking about. So Jason says, it's fruit from the poisonous tree. If your given starts with a lie, it doesn't mean shit. Besides, there was no evidence linking him speaking out against USA. Rubio was a cuck for Israel. And sure, like, fruit from the poisonous tree, that's a legal concept. And it's like the idea of a drug dealer who gets caught, but the cop didn't enter the premises correctly, and he gets thrown out because of a legal loophole. The fact is, he's still a drug dealer and he still had those drugs. So yeah, he was able to get away with it there. But do we want this to get away on a legal loophole? It's not really about the legal case. It's about, do you want this guy in your country or not?
Is this, again, we can argue, I will, as much as I might like or dislike Rubio, what he said was common sense. Yeah. Love him, hate him, common sense.
100%.
And we've been speaking about this so much over the past 2 weeks. It is just about common sense once again. Is this the type of people that you want in your country? Because remember when Jason was here, forget the website that he's supposedly a part of the leadership that wants to exterminate the West. Remove that part. Okay. He was the face, the main negotiator for a group that ended up breaking and entering the Hamilton Hall. He was the main negotiator for the law, and he is not an American citizen. He's on a green card. Those are the facts. Mm-hmm. How can you argue this? This alone, I don't even care about the pro-Hamas stuff, even though that I believe that he was.
Yep.
For sake of argument, let's remove that. Nobody can deny that guy was the face of that negotiation, and the group that he supported, that he negotiated for, ended up committing a crime or multiple crimes. Mm-hmm. Should he be held responsible? That is only the question, as in should he be held responsible, only applies to an American citizen, because that's a legal problem.
Yes.
But as a foreigner, it's not a legal thing at this point. Is this the type of guy you want to let in your country? That's it, plain and simple. He's not a citizen.
It's not about punishing the guy. It's about do whatever the fuck you want, just not here, right? You don't got to go home, but you got to get the fuck out of here.
You don't have to go home, but you just can't stay here.
Yeah, exactly. Closing time, right? You don't got to go home, but you can't stay here. Tony G, terror sympathizing 101. Yeah.
What's going on, Tony, by the way? Nice to have you back on. Jason had said this, though. The conspiracy here is that several major universities have divested in Israel, and anyone who knows how to work open secrets know that that's what
I actually am
here.
not sure what he's talking about. Jason, do you know what he's talking about here, or like what? Jason, do you want to just kind of dig into that a little bit?
You know what? I will not assume to know what he's talking about, although I think I do. I'll let him explain it for himself.
Yep. He'll in a second.
Go
ahead. Jason says, "LOL. We know what Rubio stands for. The biggest xenophobe and war hawk of them all. Where's the actual evidence that Khalil spearheaded this? I mean, yeah. I mean, Rubio. Sure, he's a huge war hawk. I mean." Yeah, that's factual. The evidence that Khalil, I mean, now we're talking these legal arguments again. He was the head negotiator for a group that did this. That's enough for, I think, most people to say, maybe I don't know exactly what he did or exactly what his role was, but I know I don't want that kind of person in this country. And it's not a court of law. He's not entitled to the presumption of innocence. It's just, do we want this guy in the country or not? And I think a lot of Americans will say no.
And I think it's going to set, if this goes through and they're capable of sending him packing, this will set such a great precedent for other people just like me. Like, I'm not even talking about somebody else's experience. I'm talking as me, as Nico Lagan, the Canadian that spends a lot of time in the US. I have to abide by the law. And if I don't, I'm fucked. But even if I do, because let's say that he did nothing illegal. He still was, for the sake of argument, he didn't do anything illegal. He still was the main negotiator for a group that ended up breaking and entering in a building. Nobody can argue this. No. Nobody can argue this. So is that the type of person you want in your country or not? And when I'm one of the things that they were worried, because my wife and I has done a lot of Canada, US, Mexico, and we're back and forth, right? Mm-hmm. They asked us the last time we were here, they wanted us to prove that we would leave. Because we're always coming back, they're like, you have an RV in Alabama, so technically you have a place to stay. You don't really need to fucking leave our country, but we don't want you to stay here. Prove that? By having a solid address in the US and Canada. Okay. It's just, but those are just concerns that they have, and it's not a legal thing. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not a legal thing. Oh, you should be here because no. It's based on what we give the power to the people that are border agents to make that call. And it's no different with this. And if they look at me and they're like, is that the type of guy we want in our country? Is that the type of guy we want to trust for 6 months? And it's no different. So I know exactly what this means. And the border agent has the power to say yay or nay.
They have a ton
and just
of
say
power.
As they should be. Yeah. As they should have, sorry. So again, it's however you feel about Rubio, as much as he can call him a war hawk, you can say that he's a xenophobe. I'm not a war hawk. I think that's pretty fucking clear up to now. I'm not a xenophobe. I hate everybody equally. I don't care the color of your skin or your religion. I probably don't like you. It's a joke. Ha ha ha. But the point is, if you look at common sense, and I think this, at least in the US, is turning into a court of common sense.
Yep.
And again, is that the type of people you want in your country or not? That's the real question we should be asking. Americans should be asking themselves, and we should be asking ourselves as Canadians that have a massive amount of foreigners on student visas.
Well, yeah, and the fact that he said, he was pretty adamant that they're not stopping here. If I were a student here on a visa and I was participating in some of these protests, I'd be very nervous right now. And that is a great thing. Like, these people have got way too comfortable destroying property and doing, like, me and you have both said it isn't the cause. You're free to go free Palestine all you want, but you're not free to destroy property. You're not free to harass and intimidate Jewish students who are just trying to get to class. That's where it's the behavior, it's the way that you're going about your protest that makes all the difference. Now, if they start going after someone just because they were at a,
that's not the same thing.
That's not the same. And I'll be the first to say, no, this isn't right. But they're not doing that. As far
at least that's not what we're seeing right now.
Yeah. And if they do, then we'll change, right? Like, it's not like we're in the tank here for Marco Rubio or Donald Trump. We just call it like we see it. And, it'll be really interesting to see how this pans out over the next few weeks, because I think, they're not even going to have to do a whole lot. Do a couple of these big profile cases, and that will pretty much take care of the problem.
And it's a problem. I don't think that's another. See, that's another thing. Is there really somebody out there with some type of common sense that can disagree that foreigners, people that are guests in the US and in Canada, are not treated the same? Like they have way too much lenience. Like, we're way too lenient on them. We bend at the knee and we just take it because we don't want to offend anybody. Can somebody really disagree with that they have too much power when we're just very tolerant? Like, we call it tolerance, but is it hard? Can somebody really disagree with the fact that we give way too much leniency to people on the green card, on a student visa, even on a visitor visa? Like, I wouldn't have, if it was my country, if I ran it, I wouldn't have any pity whatsoever. You came here on ill intentions, you lied on your application, and you are responsible for either breaking the law, you broke the law yourself. Bye-bye. You're never coming back, bro. Banned. Bye-bye. We don't need people like you here.
Absolutely. I think, it's really that simple. I mean, I know people are going to get bogged down in the legal details of this specific case, the Mahmoud Khalil case, but I think that's been a little bit. You got to look at the bigger picture here. It's clearly a problem. I think everyone can agree. I'm sure Jace would agree that, like, people coming here to cause problems, to cause social division, to commit crimes are not welcome. So really, as long as we can agree on that, I mean, the debate really just shifts in whether Khalil himself personally has crossed that line. And, that's a valid debate. I think the audience clearly knows where me and you stand on this. I don't think you're a ridiculous person for arguing otherwise, but I just, think you're wrong.
See, this is what the part with Jason that I don't think we understand each other, because Jason is saying that Open Secrets, which is a platform, a website that I've used many times to show political contribution, who's the logos they should have on their NASCAR outfit, showing us who actually pays for them. But basically, Open Secrets is a site that shows who the big donor are for political campaigns or political campaigns. AIPAC, the American Israeli Political Action Committee, controls 60% of money for these people. And he continues saying, in fact, AIPAC has handlers, political babysitters that make sure that their recipients are doing the right thing. Now, this is where you and I are not on the same page at all, Jason. You're attacking the person. You're attacking Rubio, saying that he works for Israel. What I'm telling you is I don't give a fuck who he works for. What he's saying is common sense.
He's right on this issue.
That's the point. Like, I always keep in mind that there's no such thing as great men, just great ideas. We're all flawed. We all have biases. I have biases. But I guarantee you Rob has biases. I guarantee you, Jason, have biases. But if you remove the bias, remove the individual, fuck Mark Rubio in this situation, remove him. If this message was said by somebody that you like, would you agree with it or not? Because at the end of the day, that's the truth. I don't need to like someone to listen to him and say, you know what? He's absolutely right. Then the next day I could come back and say, today that dude is full of shit and here's why. But on that note, he's been saying the same fucking thing you and I have been saying, and I can't disagree with anything he said on that fucking interview.
I think and I think I think basically what you said just kind of nailed it. And I'm pretty sure what Jason, I think I understand what his point is now. He's saying that essentially AIPAC is funding a lot of these people, but also the universities themselves, and they are putting pressure on State Department and the universities to crack down on pro-Palestinian protesters. And I don't think that's necessarily true, but let's say it is, for the sake of argument, then those protesters should be very, very careful to do things the right way, to not give them an excuse. And if you're going in there and smashing windows and like, then you brought it on yourself, right? Like if you can't claim it's a witch hunt if you're actually a witch, if you're actually doing, if they were just peaceful protesting, and then that would be a completely different thing, but that's not at all what happened.
And we did not see, we said this last week, but I did not see violent pro-Israel
I haven't
protests
but if
anywhere.
But if they did,
I would be the first one to say that it's worked.
Get the fuck out.
100%. I would be. I don't give a fuck about what your original, where you're from, and your original intentions were at one point. What did you do? What were your actions? What did you do? I don't really care what you stood for. Did you do something illegal? Did you do something that goes against what the country believes in? Yes. You're a foreigner. You're a guest. Bye-bye.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. It's not about the issue. It's how you're doing it. Now, let me ask you this. Actually, we'll take this question here.
Go
I'm
for
stuck in the middle. Thought experiment. What would happen if Kyle Rittenhouse went to the town square in Rafah and started shouting out anti-Muslim messages? Well, I think we know what would happen. He wouldn't be around much longer, right? Like,
I think he'd have a middle name called Rip.
Yeah,
Kyle Rip.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Yeah, he would be unalived, as the new term people like to use.
In a second. And, I think that's sort of speaks to the hypocrisy of what's going on too. Like, a lot of these people that are coming here to do these things, if they did the same thing in their own country, they'd be lucky just to get kicked out. More than likely they're going to be 6 feet under.
We're too lenient. We're just too lenient at the end of the day.
Yeah. If you're not going to, we're not going to let people come in and do things to destroy our social fabric and our social cohesion in ways they would never be able to do in their home countries. That's just, why would we allow that?
And again, Jason, you're digging in a hole that I'm not even in. Again, Khalil speaks out against Israel. Rubio, who takes money from AIPAC, is prosecuting him. Wonder how we came about this.
But you have a point. Again, if he wasn't destroying property.
Exactly. And this is the point. You keep on digging in the same hole that I told you that we could put aside. He is responsible for representing protesters that committed a crime. Is that the type of person you want in your country or not? Plain and simple. That's the question.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's really that simple.
But yes, he should take it. You go for it.
Yeah, and Jason says, and by the way, if you vandalize, if you commit assault, you should go to jail. We all agree. But there were several stabbings of Palestinian students in NYC and Boston. And if whoever stabbed them should go to jail. I mean, it's as simple as that.
No, unless they're green card holder, they shouldn't go to jail. They should get the fuck out of your country and go back to wherever they come from. You're talking, again, citizen versus green card guest. We're talking about guests here. He is not a citizen. He's a guest. Is that the type of guest that you want in your house? It ain't in mine. I would have kicked them out a long time ago.
Well, now let me ask you this, Nico, just to shift it slightly to an issue that, you would agree with. So obviously, I know how you feel about January 6th, but if there was a Canadian or anyone on a green card and they were involved in that, do you think that they should or could or would have their green card revoked?
They should. Yeah. It doesn't matter to me where you're from. I don't care.
I thought you were going to go that route. And I think
imagine this. You know what? Imagine this. Let's use me as an example. I am a content creator. That's what I do. I have the power to influence shit online and to cause problems. I could if I wanted to. Mm-hmm. Right now, as we stand, I have more power than Mahmoud Khalil did when he started. Imagine that you start seeing me on camera, on media everywhere saying I'm defending a protest. And then that protest ends up committing a crime. Am I responsible or not? I'm a white guy from Canada. Yep. I think I should be. Yeah. I should be held responsible.
Point is,
I've come here so many times, and I want to continue coming to the U.S. I'm very grateful that the U.S. allows me and my wife to come here and enjoy your winters instead of freezing my fucking ass in Canada. I'm very fucking grateful about this because I haven't dealt with snow in 3 years and I don't want to deal with snow. But that also stipulates that I need to be respectful of your country. And if I end up committing assault, vandalizing something or being responsible for representing people that did, I shouldn't go to jail. I should be kicked out. And you know what? Maybe I should face legal consequences where I'm from in Canada because I'm hurting the actual visitor visa. And that's another thing we haven't spoken about. You know, when I come to the US as a Canadian visitor, I represent my country. If so many Canadians come over the border and start committing crime or being part of protest that does not align with the country that we're visiting, what's the next step? The country could just ban Canadians and make it very hard, because we are grateful. We are very easily capable of coming to the US because we have the largest border between two countries in the world. So Americans can easily go to Canada. Canadians can easily go to the US. I don't want that to change. I don't want this to change. So, you know what I mean? We still have a responsibility as a Canadian that's in the US right now as a visitor. I have a responsibility to not only respect the laws of the land and be on my best behavior, but I'm also representing Canadian. Not that it says much today, but I'm still representing Canada in the US, and I should hold myself at a higher standard.
And I think the J6 example is good because it kind of shows the consistency of our argument. Like even on an issue that you agree with, I would assume, a lot of the concerns that people had on J6. The fact that it was a disruptive political protest, you think even you wouldn't be involved in that even now. So I mean, it just reinforces what we're saying. It isn't the cause that's the issue. It's not what they were what they're advocating for. It is the way that he did it.
Let's say that I had a lot of content creators, massive content creators that wanted me to go, invited me to go. I wouldn't. I'm on a visitor visa, and if I'm at a place where something happens, and I'm not saying it would, this could prevent me from ever coming back to the US. So why would I risk it? And he did risk it. That's the thing. I have the foresight to actually think about those things. He did not. Should he get a pass? No, that's not our responsibility to have pity for him. This is always going to be the point, right?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Oh, sorry.
Well, hold on. Yeah. P. Gonzalez. Many Canadians come to Florida for the winter, and we love them. Always nice and law-abiding. We sound like idiots because most of them are from Quebec. I apologize for the Speedos because my fatties from Quebec do love to wear Speedos. I'm sorry, but thank you. We appreciate your nice comments, and welcome to the show, P. Gonzalez. I don't remember ever seeing you.
Always great to see new audience members. Jason, and we'll probably just take these next two and Jason, then maybe move on. Jason says, I think the opposite is happening here. I think you two are dug in on predetermined facts that Rubio is saying there's proof, but to date was provided none. But none of that matters. Like, we know that he was a negotiator for this group, CUAD, and that this group is caused all that damage, and they occupied Henley Hall or Hunts Hall or whatever it was in Columbia. That's all we need to know. I mean,
and we're saying we haven't changed what we're saying. It just turns out that Rubio's saying what we're saying, what we've been saying for 2 weeks. I didn't change my speech as to, I feel the same way today as I did 2 weeks ago when I first read about this. There's no difference to me. It's just now we're hearing the Secretary of State say, yeah, there's going to be consequences, and he's not going to be the last one.
He was interviewed in New York Magazine, which is a left-wing publication, where he was introduced by the magazine as the lead negotiator for this group. And it wasn't even about his role there. It was about the protest itself. They just added that as a descriptor. And then, I mean, I'm sure that just the very fact that he engaged in an interview and gave them answers while being introduced, he would have introduced himself as the lead negotiator. That's where they would have got that from. There's no doubt that he's in a leadership position in this group. The only debate is if you think that being a leadership position of a group that causes that kind of damage is valid reason to revoke a green card. I mean, I clearly we both do. I think most people do, but
I don't see a witch hunt here.
No,
to kind of go back to what you were saying earlier. I don't see a witch hunt here.
No, it's not.
I don't see the government trying to find somebody to blame. That dude put himself in that situation. No matter how you feel about this was not forced on him. He chose to do this, and now he's facing consequences, as I believe he should. So at that point, I don't have any pity for this guy. You know what? Boo fucking who, bro? Boo fucking who? Because I would get kicked out and I couldn't come back either if I did something that the US doesn't agree. However I feel about it is fucking irrelevant. Was I a good guest or not? If I'm not a good guest, why the fuck are you in my, why would the fuck would you want me in your house?
Yeah, exactly. I really don't know why the left is sort of digging in so hard on this. He's not at all a sympathetic character. And it's not like he's being imprisoned. He's not, you know, they're just saying you can't stay here anymore. That's it. Like America has that right to let in who they want and to revoke green cards if they want to. So, I mean, it's not, you know, he can still go back to wherever he's from, Syria or wherever, and do his advocacy there. You know, with the internet, he still has that ability. I'm not quite sure why this is such a dig your heels in moment for the left.
we'll take those three last ones and then we'll move forward. So whatever you say after this, Jason, sorry, bro, not sorry.
Yeah.
And by the way, SCOTUS is going to shoot this down, most likely 9081, because what you say to the media and what you say in court are two different things. Again, I get what you're saying, but I guarantee you that guy's gone.
I respect
this is gonna be overthrown. Like there's gonna be, if it comes down to signing an executive order directly from Trump saying fuck you, you're out, just like he did with the Venezuela guy. Did you see that over the weekend?
Yeah.
The judge is like, you can't send them. Trump is like, fuck you. They're gone already. And this is what's gonna happen right here.
That's another example of like, why is the left, like they're picking the most unsympathetic. Did you see the video of like the Trend Agua or whatever the gang is? Like these guys, you're just looking at them. These guys, these are hard men. You can tell that these are gang members, right? Tattoos. And the left's like, oh no, but they're civil rights. And it's like, nobody gives a shit. Literally, no one gives a shit about criminals, like the civil rights of criminals. And maybe that's, you know, not nice to say, but it's the reality. It is the backlash is happening from 20 years of you know, Democrat DNC policies of not holding anybody accountable for anything unless you're like a white guy praying somewhere. You know what I mean? Like that.
And if the left would have done this, you know, if Biden would have done what's happening right now, I would have agreed with him. As much as I dislike the man and disagreed with most of this shit that he's done, I would have agreed with him. So the fact that it's the right or the left that's doing it, irrelevant to me. I don't care. I just like, though, agree that's common sense.
Yeah, I respect that Jason's calling a shot though. He's not wishy-washy. He says it's a SCOTUS 9-0 or 8-1. So we're gonna revisit that for sure.
One thing I will give Jason, he's been full of shit from the beginning. He did not flip-flop. He's been wrong from the get-go.
He's been wrong from the beginning. And you can respect that, right? He's committed.
I respect that, man. He's not a flip-flopper.
No, he is
I'll
committed.
give Jason.
He is committed to being wrong.
Love you, Jason.
Yeah.
At least Jason's able to say that my comments about Quebec fatties was pretty funny. Yeah, I thought so. But it's very stereotypical from people from Quebec. Like you see them, you know, when I don't know for the Americans that are following that are watching us right now, but if you go to a resort down south, like somewhere, I'm in Alabama, so down south,
you can always tell the Quebecers.
You can always recognize the Americans and the Quebecois. Like there's no. They sound very similar, just in a different language. They're loud. They drink a lot. They're normally not skinny. And yeah, you can recognize them extremely, extremely easy.
It's really swimwear.
One wears Speedos.
Big difference. Yeah. One
wears Speedos. The others won't.
Yeah.
But if they both spoke English or both spoke French, they'd sound the same.
Yeah.
Just saying. Sorry for my Texas friends. I like Texas, but
Jason, because this will be it. This will be the last one. I think he's responding to the comment where I was saying like, why is the left sort of dying on this hill? And he's saying, because if you do not defend free speech for people you don't like, it's a matter of time. Yeah, of course,
but
right?
They haven't.
This isn't a free speech issue, though. I don't.
But Rubio said it too. Like it's so hypocritical from the left to be so pissed off at this when they've been canceling me for 4 years. They have no fucking idea. They don't give a fuck about free speech.
On that point, if you as a Canadian green card holder were involved in J6, the very same people who are now
would have been mad at me.
They would have been kick him the fuck out, get rid of him immediately.
But that's because I'm a white guy and I'm not a brown guy that's fighting for free Palestine. Like, let's be honest here. The left is the left would not be
chooses.
swinging for the fence if it was me, the white Christian from
No.
Canada.
No,
Let's be real here, Jason. Let's be real, bro.
Yeah.
You wouldn't care about me either. It's hurting my feelings right now, but if you wouldn't be swinging for the fences for me if I was Nico Lagan, the white Christian from Canada that participated in Christian protests
I believe
that ended up breaking and entering.
Probably would, but like the vast majority of people.
I'm just fucking with
I know, just chirping him.
But Jason might say the same thing to me as I say to him. He's white enough to look white. I'm dark enough to not look white. So maybe I'm.
You can play
I'm
that
fucking
card
with you, Jason. Come on, Jason. Grow a sense of humor.
I know. I think he's big shits come from assholes. Yeah. So we'll end on that. We'll end this topic with a little funny there from Jason. So everyone's friends again. This is pretty much the big. This. Yeah. I mean, we're obviously just for the audience members. This is how we do things here.
If Joe Stradamus, a guy I know Jason. I've known Jason for years, so we shoot this shit and we argue with each other. But Joe Stradamus, a perfect example. First time he's one of your followers, he showed up, and I kind of ripped into him for a while, and then he came back, and we're just having conversations, even if I don't agree. This is the whole.
I like Joe's voice here. He definitely brings some. It's nice to have those people,
a leftist spice to
people on the left and the right.
Yep, so, but I'll say that this is what we do. If you come here and I don't agree with you, I might rip into you. You can rip into me, right?
Yeah. Feel free.
As long as it's respectful, bro. Even if you call me name, I still think it's funny because I know I'm an asshole. You don't need to remind me. I'm fully fucking aware I'm an asshole.
Perry knows it. Perry gets it. Yeah, as long as you don't make it's not gay if you don't make eye contact. That's how it works.
Agreed. Yeah. Wow, this is becoming a thing. Yeah. This is literally becoming a thing. Don't make eye contact. Because even with other guys that I've been on their podcast, I always say this. It's not gay if you don't make eye contact, and it's becoming a thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to make t-shirts about this.
That'll be the show t-shirt.
Yeah, agreed.
Not gay if you don't make eye contact. Jason says there are not two people on the political spectrum I respect more. I watch you guys every morning, and of course, everything. It's all love here.
How do you feel now that he's funneling with your balls too? It's like two-hander right now. It's two-hander.
It's an interesting feeling. I've got the weirdest boner right now, to be honest.
Bro, I said that on a call last week. I'm like, hey man, this is so exciting that I have half a chubby. And my wife is in the door. She's like, what's a half chubby?
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah,
this is we are on a funny Monday, bro.
Yeah,
Jesus,
we are. We're
I like it.
But
this is a good Monday. Like we're shooting this shit. We're laughing a lot. It's not as serious as it's normally am, but yeah.
No. And guys, if you are watching here, especially for the first time, remember to like and share. If you like what we have to say, if you're on X, especially retweet the stream. That's really how you help us out. But also make sure to engage, to comment like you're seeing here. Clearly, like we engage with the audience first and foremost. Really, that takes precedence over the other stuff, right? We try to stay on track a little bit, but I mean, we always want to make sure we get to all our comments and because that's really what the show's all about.
Well said, brother. Now there's a couple more things I wanted to talk about. I hope we have time because I wanted to try something today. And you guys, maybe if we don't get to it, maybe you can give me your opinion right now. I'm a big fan of technology. I'm always looking at what's coming. And one of the things we've been speaking about a lot recently is climate change. We even had Judith Curry a couple of weeks ago to just come in and I think one of the plays that we agreed on is we should develop technology based on the terrain. Like wherever you're located in the world, does oil and gas make sense? Sure, let's use that. Is geothermal the way to go? Awesome. Is nuclear the way to go? Is it wind? Is it water, hydroelectricity? Whatever. We should just stop demonizing oil and gas. It's that is the main premise, right?
Yeah.
And I hope I can show you a part of the video that I found this morning, but I found a video of nuclear fusion. So I'm an intellectual. I might not know. You look at me and you're like, you fucking white supremacist, you. But at the end, I'm a nerd. I love this stuff. So I'd like to play a tiny bit of a video. I'll keep like 3-4 minutes for the end, but just let me know if that's something you guys enjoy, if that's something you'd like to see more, because I always look for this stuff personally. It's just something I love. Yep. But it's like instead of just you and I shooting this shit all the time and giving our opinion, I think it'd be a good idea to be informational too. Like this is not an opinion.
If we just see something cool that, especially if it's you know, tangentially relates to what we're talking about.
But it does, right?
Exactly,
it does, right?
And that's one of the topics that we discuss a lot here. So yeah, guys, give us feedback on that. But we're thinking about maybe taking a few minutes at the end of shows to do that kind of thing.
If it makes sense, like I'm not gonna force it, like I'm not gonna look for them, but if something pops, like this popped on my feed, I'm like, oh fuck, this is cool because we've talked about this. We've talked about how we need to stop demonizing nuclear, and this is a brand new technology called nuclear fusion, which is like, I don't want to spoil the video, but it's fucking cool. It sounds dangerous as shit if they mess up. It's like what they do at CERN,
the Large Hadron Collider.
Yeah, the super large hadron collider. Yeah, that's why it's black, right? It's black and veiny. It's super large. But yes, if that makes sense to you guys, I'd like to know.
The big black collider.
Oh, that's funny. That's actually good for you, man. That was a funny. You made a funny.
It was a big win. It was a big win for me. I feel good.
Now, the next video I wanted to show you guys is I don't know if it's going to resonate for Americans as much as it does for Canadians, but it should, because it kind of shows you the shit that we're in. And if you, just to put a bit of perspective to this, last week on Friday, we Trudeau stepped down, and we now have Mark Carney as the Prime Minister of Canada. And it's just what he's been doing is very fucking interesting. Like, he flew to Europe instead of going down to Washington and deal with
I don't like that. I don't like that.
He actually, even this morning or yesterday night, he said he had a call with Zelensky, but he still hasn't spoken to Trump. And he has the audacity to tell us that he's putting Canada first.
Yeah.
And I found a video from the left, because obviously for my American friends out there, we don't have really right-leaning media outside of a place called Rebel News, which are very conservative. They're backing the conservative, and True North, which is now Juno now, but they kind of are remodeling. So we don't really have the equivalent of Fox News in the US, in Canada. Like, it's really left leaning altogether. And like, you have a few guys like you and I that are out there kind of just speaking about from a different perspective. But I just found a video that's talking about Mark Carney, and the guy that's on the show. So it's a news anchor. She has a guest. The guest used to work for Trudeau. So I found his take to be so interesting, and not in a good way. Like, it's just showing how we're doubling down on what's going on, unlike what the US is doing, and try to moving the needle, like, I feel a cultural shift in the US as I'm living here, as I'm here currently. Yep. But I know that when I get back to Canada, that shift is not going to be there anymore.
Well, yeah, and we that's one of the regular themes on this show, is the shift that's occurring, and I believe that Canada's going to have to make a decision at some point. We're coming to a crossroads, because I think America and Europe are going two different directions, and we're kind of caught in the middle, and we have to pick. And I know there's a lot of liberals, people on the left, who think, oh, well, align more with Europe because they're more like, ideologically the same as us. But I think that would be a huge mistake. You can't, you just cannot forgo our shared history, just our geography. That's the biggest thing. We're next door to these guys. If they feel us starting to slip away, there's all kinds of things they can do that, right or wrong, they have the power to do, and we're not going to like it.
And keep in mind, guys, that's something that the left-leaning media, at least in Canada, they don't talk about, is the fact that 75% of our exports go to the US.
I mean, it's
no-brainer. Bro, it's no-brainer. Oh man, breaking news right now from 15 minutes ago. Not only did Mark Carney admit to have spoken to Zelensky already,
okay,
before he actually talked to Trump. It just broke that Mark Carney has invited Ukrainian President Zelensky to attend the upcoming G7 summit in Alberta. Like, talk about spitting in the face of the US right here. That guy is doing
How is that in our interest? How is it in Canada's interest to get closer ties with Ukraine if it means spitting in the face of America? I don't care what you feel about Donald Trump. The fact is, they are our big brother, and they have leverage over us that no one else does. We have to play the game. We have to play ball. And regardless of what you feel about Trump, any leader, any Canadian leader right now, whoever is prime minister, their number one task has to be get rid of tariffs. That's it. So every single decision should be framed at that. Does this make it easier to get rid of the tariffs or harder? And inviting Zelensky to the G7 does not make it easier. Spitting in Donald Trump's face, yes, he's a petty man. He's very petty. So knowing that, why are you fucking poking him with a stick? Why are you poking the guy with the power to fucking devastate our economy with a stick just because, it makes some people feel good in Canada that oh yeah, we're standing up to Trump. Well, you can stand up to him all you want, but when we lose 1.5 million jobs, it's not going to be worth it. I'm telling you, like, the fucking Carney should have been like, okay, maybe I don't like. First thing he should have done should have been, and credit where it's due, he got rid of the carbon tax. So that was
wrong.
Oh,
that's not true. No, he doesn't have the power to do so. So whatever the little document that he signed needs to be approved further down the road. Like, he's not people. No, but that's only the part. Like, a lot of lawyers are arguing this, saying he can't do that until Parliament is back open. But not only that, but he did not remove. Even let's say that it's true that he's capable of doing it. He did not remove the carbon tax. He removed the consumer tax. So but the corporate tax is still there. So basically, all he's doing is saying that it's zero for you guys. We're going to push it to the corporate, and we will end up paying it, because whatever you put on corporate, guess what? We're the one that's going to end up paying it for the products. But not only that, but remember that we're supposed to have a carbon tax hike on April 1st. I did not, and I looked for it this weekend. Nowhere did he say that he was removing that hike, and it's a 25% hike. So on one hand, he's telling us that he's removing it. Like, no, he did not. He's a fucking banker that's moving the dollar from your pocket to the corporate pocket. He's basically, hey, here's $20 for your pocket while I take $20 from your other pocket. Like, the guy
so we'll put that to the side then.
No, but people are falling for this shit.
No, for sure. I mean, I was just going by the headlines. But
that's what most people do, right? That's why I'm here to say wrong. wrong. That debate there with Hillary. But the point is, Carney, the first thing he should have done is hold a press conference and say, I know things are rocky with America right now. And you can even say, and of course, me and Donald Trump are going to disagree on a lot of things. That's fine. But America is still our closest friend, our biggest ally, and our biggest trading partner, and it's not even close. So that relationship is going to be my priority until we get this sorted out. That's it. That's what you should be doing. Not running around. Not only that, bro, sorry to cut you off, but do you remember the video I showed you last week about Putin saying that he wanted to make sure that one of the deals that he wanted as part of the peace treaty or the peace negotiation with Ukraine that's being handled by the US right now was to make sure that Ukraine could never join NATO. And now you have our fucking Canadian fucktard here is inviting him to the G7 summit where he has no place to be. So how is that not spitting in the face of Russia and spitting in the face of the US at the same time? How the fuck is that helping us?
Yeah, it's sorry, stupid. Bro. It's no, it's good. It's a good point. It's stupid. It's just stupid all around. I don't care if you hate Donald Trump. Like, you have to play the game that's in front of us, right? We can't play a game. We can't imagine the game as we want it to be and play that game. We have to play the one that we're actually in. And in the one that we're in, America holds all the cards. They have the power to really, 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 really hurt us. And Zelensky has absolutely no power to help us. So it's a no-brainer, right? Put your personal feelings aside and do what's right for the country. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, and I'm not, but it is disappointing to see it already start to go down this route.
And mark my words, Mark Carney will be a lot worse than Trudeau.
Well, he's smarter. He
was the one puppeteering Trudeau.
Yeah. Well, and maybe he fucking gave him some intentionally bad advice, knowing it would tank his polls. So then he swoops in when the time is right. He definitely seems like a guy
as the savior.
Yeah, he definitely seems like a guy he's shrewd.
As the midget savior, because he's a tiny little man. Huh? Did you see that?
Too? No, I didn't see that.
You can always gauge people's height by door frames, because door frames are normally around 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
Like most door frame, and he walks through a door frame and it's like he's halfway there, like he's a little midge. Like, to me, Carney is a little man with he has a Napoleon complex.
To Nico, a man who's short, that's a moral failing. I don't want to deal with that.
God just didn't like you.
Yeah. So I'm going to trust God. I'm going to trust God.
God did not. Somebody told me that one day. He was trying to insult me, but he's like, the fact that you're bald just shows that God doesn't like you. And I'm like,
that's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
You know what? I'm pretty happy because it's easy for me to take care of, and I have a pretty good head, so I'm happy about that. Yeah. You want? So let me put the Carney video to give you an idea. But this is especially for you as a leftist. Listen to the way they spin this and tell me if that makes you happy, if this is believable, or is it cringy? Because obviously, as a righty, I was watching this, I'm like, facepalm after facepalm. But I want to see you as a lefty and the people out there that are watching this. Let me know if this is a cringy video, because this is serious. This is global news. This is, serious. Yeah. It's supposed to be taken seriously. Let me rephrase.
Mark Carney is Canada's Prime Minister, the first new Prime Minister, in fact, that we've had in 9 years. Now, Carney has taken over the responsibility of steering Canada through a trade war with the United States. And in short order, Carney will also lead the Liberal Party through a federal election that will be held at some point this year. Let's bring in Cameron Ahmed then, former Liberal staffer, communications director, in fact, for the now former Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. Cameron, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Carney's kicked off his stint. Well, first he reduced the carbon tax to zero, but then today he's headed to Europe to meet with his...
Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
I was just thinking that.
Wrong. I'm going to stop it. Every time she talks she talks bullshit. Wrong. I need to find that. Wrong. And I need to find a Trump one too, just to make sure I piss everybody off.
Yeah, I mean, even if Carney was able to kind of like fool some people with some headlines, whatnot. I mean, even if all you're looking at is the headlines, that he's not reducing it to zero at all. There's already some carbon taxes on that are not being touched.
And even if he was able to, it is just the consumer part. But she says carbon tax zero. Wrong.
Yeah.
French and British counterparts. And the plan, as we understand it at this stage, is to discuss trade, but also defense. What do you make of this? How do you view this as his first step?
Hold on. He's going to Europe to speak about defense. How the fuck are Europeans going to help us here in Canada? Wrong.
I mean, especially if you're talking, like what she said, the two issues are what? Tariffs and defense. Those two issues, there's no need to go to Europe for. You deal with both those issues by calling Donald Trump.
I think it's a smart first step.
Wrong.
I mean, we saw with the formation of a new cabinet, a very small, lean cabinet.
A very small, lean cabinet with most of the people that were in Trudeau's governments. Like Freeland is still there, and Numbskull, foreign minister, whatever. Jolie is still there. So clearly, Jolie was trying to become prime minister. So was Freeland. Obviously, masquerade. What do you think?
Yeah, of course.
What do you think, right?
Yep.
focused, I think, squarely on the number one challenge that Canada faces, and probably the only thing that's going to be discussed in the lead up to the election, which is our relations with the United States and the threats we're facing from Donald Trump. So
he's actually correct on that.
Yeah.
But the way but how does that make sense?
But why are you going to Europe?
I'm Mark Carney, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Europe to negotiate the tariffs and military spending or defense.
Like Europe can do nothing in either of those. Like America's who you want to talk to for defense, because right now they're the ones defending us, right? That's why we've been able to have such a small military.
How dare you? How dare you?
But yeah, it's so funny because like they're getting it right on like, you know, what his priorities are. Like you can, you know, like Carney's priorities are the tariffs and defense and our relationship with the US. Yes. So he's going to America, right? No, with Europe, of course. Like what the fuck is that? Why?
Of course.
Obviously. Like fuck's sake, man.
And by the way, guys, for just to stipulate this, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound racist. I'm just gonna state a fact here. If you're wondering why the fuck I'm playing a video from Canada that has clearly an Indian woman as the anchor and an Indian guy as the advisor to Trudeau, is because we do have the second largest population of Indian outside of India. So this video is not from India. It's from
Canada,
Toronto, the Toronto area. But this might sound racist. People might be, why are they talking like that? Because that's the fucking point. We have a massive amount of Indians / Pakistani in Canada. That's why they sound like that.
So, sending a signal very early on that he is going to be have a different style as prime minister, but really focused immediately on that threat.
A different style as prime minister. He's doing there's an awesome meme going on X right now. It's Mark Carney looking at a Campbell's soup can.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Campbell's soup, and all it says liberal tactic, reheat. That's it. It's like, no, but that's all you do. Like he's doing the exact same fucking thing. So again, all they're saying is like he should be different from Trudeau. Yes, I agree. He should deal with the tariffs and defense. I agree. Why the fuck is he in Europe?
Why is he going to Europe? Yeah, it's like fuck. It's the craziest thing ever. They're agreeing that these are the important things, but they don't think it's at all weird that he's going to Europe to deal with those. And not just is he going to Europe, but it's also spitting in the face of America. Like it's a disrespect, right? That it's a big thing who a prime minister or a president goes to see first. Those are very important decisions. Like it's not just willy-nilly, right? Like they strategize, and there's no reason why Donald Trump should not have been the first visit. He should have been immediately. They should have, tried to find common ground. That's how you do different than what Trudeau does, because Trudeau would have gone to Europe too.
He did. He actually did during the tariffs. He was in Europe and he was hugging Zelensky
right after Zelensky shit the bed in the Oval Office.
Got kicked out,
slapping him.
He was in London trying to help him out, but they ended up telling him, you know what, bro, we can't do anything. See, even more hypocritical. You're gonna need. We want to help you, but we need the U.S. to do it.
Yeah,
but it's okay. Let's go back to Europe to try to deal with the U.S. Oh wait, we might need to talk to the U.S. to deal with this.
Yeah,
like it really feels like we're being led by the smartest retards. Like we have a certain group of idiots. We're taking the smarter ones of that group. We're looking
smart ones.
But I don't think they're dumb. That's the thing. That's the difference.
No. I was going to say
most people. Those guys are. He's not an idiot. That dude is fucking intelligent. It's scary. A guy like him is scary. Scary.
I think Trudeau is not that smart. I think he just made for a great figurehead.
So pretty.
That great hair. He's got that great hair. But and he had the pedigree. He was Pierre Elliott's Trudeau's son, and he was to this day he's quite a well-liked prime minister. He was like the old kind of liberal, who didn't really fuck around and take a lot of shit, just a bit of a slice of Canadian history. But if you're familiar with the FLQ crisis, like we had Quebecois terrorist organizations, they actually kidnapped a Canadian politician, And fucking Trudeau did not give a shit, man. He called out the army, declared martial law. The media was like, "How far are you gonna go?" And he said, "Just watch me." And you can't see a liberal today, having that kind of resolve or doing what needed to be done. But
no, Trudeau would probably cry. Please,
this one here, the young one, yeah, he was just
giving back. Give him back, please.
Oh no,
please.
yeah, come on.
You're
please,
hurting my feelings.
please.
I couldn't sleep last night. My boyfriend and I were up all night talking about this. Please.
We were making eye contact all night.
They were. They were.
He makes it.
But
yeah. No, my overall point
very
is,
good at it.
I don't think Trudeau is necessarily a smart guy. Carney is a sharp guy. I mean,
I agree, man.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 1,000%.
Traveling to Europe right away, demonstrating that he's going to work to shore up our alliances with other really important countries, and of course the two most important European countries in our historical relationships, and demonstrate to Canadians that he's ready to take that on and that he can show international credibility, competence in governing, and be ready for this threat that's already underway.
Who the fuck cares what the rest of the world thinks?
Yeah.
Deal with the fucking tariffs, go down to the US, go to Washington and speak to fucking Trump. Who the fuck cares how it looks to other people? He wants to look good for other people so that he can then talk to the US. Are we retarded here?
Stupid.
Like who?
That's stupid. Stupid.
And I know he's not stupid. So I know that what he's doing is on purpose. He has a plan. And I know what the plan is, but I got to be careful what I say and cannot say here. But all to say that dude is doing this. This is intentional. Don't fall for this shit. He's doing this on purpose. He knows what he's doing. He ain't fucking stupid.
Absolutely. And Prairie, I think you might have thought I was saying that about Justin Trudeau. No, I was talking about his father, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, who I think broadly speaking has, is respected as a statesman.
No, he's not.
I think. You don't think so?
Oh no. If you look today, maybe he was okay back then, but they're seeing him as one of the worst. Like they're literally, him and his father are literally the two worst prime
Is that
ministers.
because of Justin though? Like
no, he was a massive leftist. Like he was a massive fucking leftist that did a lot of dumb shit even back in the days when we were more conservative. So, and again, he's a big, I don't know if you know this, but he was very good friends with Fidel Castro.
Yeah, that's
the communist out of Cuba. And you should see the pictures of Fidel Castro younger and Justin Trudeau younger.
I'd like to see the ancestry.ca. Yeah.
But
the DNA test
he was very good friends with a communist, and I can tell you, I would not be good friends with a communist that has killed a lot of his own people. It's like having the prime minister was a good friend with Stalin. Oh yeah, good, awesome. Like,
yeah,
there's a difference between having to deal with him on political issues because they're a country that we need to deal with, but being personal friends with someone that's not business anymore, right? There's a fine line between having to deal with someone on business or politically because that's your fucking responsibility, and being good friends with him. There's a fine line here.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I'm just looking at I'm just Googling what his approval rating was.
Yep. And I continue playing this during the time you're doing that.
57%, which is pretty high. Mulroney's is 83%.
No, but you're talking back then.
Okay, yeah.
You're talking about back then. That what you want to do is to look as to how he fares now. Because there's a lot of dumb policies that he's done. And Mulroney was a conservative, if I'm not mistaken, because we normally go liberal, conservative.
Yeah.
And that might be why his approval rating is so high, because Pierre Elliott Trudeau fucked up so bad that Mulroney came in and just...
sorry. Yeah, no, I'm looking at the wrong number anyways. That was his disapproval rating. His approval rating
there you go.
32%.
There you go. Okay. No, he was not liked. It sounds like he was because he has an airport in his name. And Dum Trudeau, good-looking Dum Trudeau made him sound better.
Yeah.
He was probably not as bad as Trudeau. Trudeau's father was probably not as bad as Trudeau's son.
I don't think he's...
Yeah, but he was very problematic because a 30% approval rate, that is no good. That's not a good thing.
The highest one so far is Jean Chrétien. That's interesting.
Yeah, Yeah. Well, man,
Stephen Harper's up there too. 50.
You know what? Jean Chrétien would be a DEI powerhouse today.
Yeah.
Well, considering the face that he had, considering man, that guy would score high on the DEI pyramid. That's what I mean. That's what I meant.
He was prime minister for when I was a kid, so I mean, I wasn't really involved in politics, but when I was growing up, he was the guy.
Yep. So let's continue this.
Carney is well equipped to tackle Donald Trump. We've seen various world leaders try and respond to Trump's threats of tariffs in various different ways. Some have been more compliant and some have been more defiant. And we've seen Trump doesn't seem to respond well to defiance. So how do you think Carney's...
Again, she's right. He does not respond well to defiance. So why the fuck are you lying? Are you trying to make Zelensky happy? Why?
Yeah. Just what is the benefit? It doesn't help us at all.
Going to tackle this?
Well, I think it's fair to say he doesn't really respond well to any approach from any leader in the world.
Okay, that's why Mexico was able to sign a deal with the US. Again, see how good they are? He does not respond well. No, he's made deal with Mexico. So what's the problem? Because you know what? Mexico picked up the fucking phone and contacted him.
Yeah.
See how they're playing it? He's not playing nice with anybody. No, he is.
You can't make a deal if you don't fucking talk to the guy.
How dare you? How dare you, Rob?
Yes, of course. Yes. Never.
World,
but yeah,
because it's all driven by his desire to impose tariffs or to really whatever his agenda is at the time. I think what we
Again, whatever his agenda is at the time, he's told you what he wanted. He wants you to remove the tariffs from poultry, from dairy. He wants you to stop letting illegal immigrants go through the northern border, which when I looked earlier, there are numbers out there. And I think it was 2021, 2022. They caught more than 199,000 of them. This is not a small fucking numbers considering that we're 50 million people in Canada. So this is, again, fentanyl, secure your fucking border and remove your tariffs that you have on their products. That's what he's asked up to now. Have we done it? No. But then you have those guys that are just selling the lie. We cannot negotiate with him. And it's a great idea for Carney to go to Europe to try to negotiate with Trump.
Yeah, that's stupid. I think I have serious doubts about what he actually is trying to do, but at the end of the day, like you have to at least try. You have to try to meet the ask. Like if it requires the removing the tariffs on dairy, then you fucking do it. I mean, you can't, if you do those things and he still doesn't remove them, then sure, you can say, okay, well, we tried, but you got to fucking try. That's your job as a prime minister. Which
clearly he ain't fucking trying. Can we agree on that? Like,
no, that's it. That's exactly it. And we've had, not to, let me put this hat on here. We've had discussions here about what we think he's doing. And so far it is according to the playbook. It is a conspiracy theory at this point, but the gist of it is we suspect he might actually not have a problem with the tariffs. He might welcome the tariffs, so that he can then use the sort of the threat of them to implement the policies that he wants to implement, which will be some version of, according to the theory, some sort of UBI or CERB type program that will essentially buy him the next election. That's the theory that was put forward to us by Jason when we were on the Levine show, and so far it has held up. For sure. It's aged quite well.
Unfortunately.
Yes, unfortunately. Because when he made that, Jagmeet Singh was still saying, no, election. And Jason was saying, watch this. Jagmeet's going to say, he's going to start saying, no, actually, we don't need an election now. We need to help the workers. Put out a package. And that's exactly what Jagmeet's, where he's at now. So
is Carney, and so is Pierre Poilievre. Since Jason has said that, the three main parties in Canada have a line saying pretty much the same thing, word for word.
Yeah. I mean, it's not proof, but it's proof that there's something there, that there's legs to it for sure.
There's something people in Canada need to open their eyes to, which is why I'm saying that, in my opinion, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, Mark Carney will be worse than Justin Trudeau, because unlike Justin Trudeau, he's actually intelligent and he worked for some massive entities like the WEF.
He knows all. He knows how those machines work. Like
you know what? They talk about this in this video. I'm gonna let it go to the end. I'll stop interrupting. But they talk about what Mark Carney has done in the past, like it's a beautiful thing. It shows his experience. Like, I listened to this and I'm like, yeah, thank you for really confirming why I'm scared of Mark Carney. Thanks a lot, bro.
Saw with Prime Minister Trudeau, especially in the first term, was a really smart strategy in dealing with the White House, and ultimately one that worked for Canada. But the second Trump White House is different, and their approach is different. It's more aggressive. So I think Carney is well equipped because he has almost unimpeachable credentials on the economy, and he has steered major economies through crisis before. And two, because he's credible on the international stage. So he's meeting with these leaders of other countries, doesn't even need an introduction. They already know who he is. And again, he is going to be using these first few days in office to demonstrate that he has his eye on the ball. He knows exactly what the priority is for the country.
He has the eyes on the king's balls, not his eye on the ball. And the balls that he should have his eye on is not a fucking Europe. Down south, Washington.
Yeah, I mean, his experience, like he basically helped build the sort of globalist machinery right now. Like he's not just a member; he's like a founding member. So he knows that system inside and out. So if his goal is to move Canada closer to that sort of, to get closer to like the WEF, just these sort
sat
of
on the fucking board.
Yeah, large global institutions. He's gonna be, if that's his goal, he's gonna be very, very effective at doing it. He's gonna be primed to actually steer us in that direction, if that is indeed his goal. And it's hard to say there's nothing he's done that would suggest that isn't his goal. And everything, and his entire,
or the other way around, or the
everything
other way around, right?
You're right.
Can you really say that there's not doubt here that Carney does not have our best interests at heart?
Well, just look at his.
Is it that hard of a sell? No, but forget just what he's done since last week. If you would ask right now, I guarantee you that if you would poll the average Canadian, what is your number one concern right now? Tariffs and Donald Trump. That would be the number one concern. Any fucking Canadian, no matter.
Like, what are you doing, man? And
let's invite Zelensky to the G7. Don't forget that one.
Kick a little more sand in Donald Trump's face. And there's
Carney's not able. Okay, hold on. Let me stop you there. Carney's not able to kick sand high enough to reach Donald Trump.
Yes, of course.
But if you're gonna try to be accurate, be accurate. He cannot.
Yes, of course.
He's not capable. He cannot. He's gonna have to pick it up and throw it at him.
Or he'll just hire someone who's tall to do it. But
he can afford it.
Yeah. But what you said there is an important thing to keep in mind too. So like the reason we bring up this, conspiracy theory about what he might be doing is because that should be the framework through which you assess what he's doing, right? If you think that he's genuinely trying to do the right thing for Canada, you might be a little bit like, oh, why is he doing that? Why is he going to Europe? Why is he not focusing on the American relationship when everybody knows, as this guy said, that is the priority? But if for a second, just for the sake of argument, we assume that conspiracy theory that we just talked about is true, then that makes what he's doing make perfect sense. And that's not a good thing. All of a sudden these moves start to look completely different. And if we also assume that he's not a dumb guy and he's a smart guy, again, it isn't proof that this is what's going on, but evidence is piling up.
it's just looking bad when
Very
you put
bad.
it all into perspective. And
Yeah.
you know, as you said, this is, at least this is my goal, is to just put doubts in your mind to
Yeah.
say, okay, hold on, because this is what I found very interesting about this video. Everything they say, I agree with, that are the problem and the priorities. I agree with them. Their solution is completely off. So they're very smart. Again, don't underestimate global news or CBC or MSNBC, CNN or Fox. It's not because you don't agree with what they're saying that they're stupid. They know exactly what they're saying. They're literally telling you, they're pointing out very accurately what the problems are. But the way they're handling, the way that they propose that we handle it is absolutely ludicrous and makes no fucking sense. But they give you enough intelligence to say, hey, those are the problems. Agreed?
Yes.
Now
Yeah.
let me tell you what we should do. Wrong. Like it's marketing 101. It's the way our brain
They're
works.
acting like it's
They
a
know-
given. Like, of course you would go to Europe if those are your concerns, but it isn't a given. To me,
Have they provided one answer yet that made sense? Everything
No.
they've set up to now as to why he should do that, I'm like, hey, bro, you're making it worse. Like, this is bad, what you're saying.
However, if you reframe your perspective and you assume for just a second that Carney actually does not want to get rid of the tariffs because he wants to use them to his political advantage, then these moves do make sense. So keep that in mind as this story unfolds over the next couple weeks. I'm not saying this is true, but I'm just saying, because I don't even know. I'm not. It's a plausible theory. It has the ring of truth, and Carney so far is supporting this theory by his actions.
And he said he had. So hold on. What you're saying is not, to me, is not just a theory. He said he would do it. He said that he will fight the tariffs with some type of UBI. I call it UBI because everybody knows what universal basic income is.
And he won't
gonna
call
give
it
it.
It won't be
Of
called
course
that.
not. No, it's going to be work for. It's going to be something with workers, because he's
supporting
been framing the 100%. But all to say, this is not a conspiracy theory. He has spoken about this many, many times. He even said before becoming prime minister that he would invoke the Emergency Act in order to deal with the tariffs and install some type of UBI schemes. Call it whatever the fuck you want. He has said that on I was going to say on radio. Goddamn, I'm in the 1900s now. He has said that on video.
He was on the phonograph.
He was on the telegraph.
Yeah.
And he sent the facts. Actually, he sent us a fax. No, but the point is that this is not a conspiracy theory. He said that. He has said that multiple times.
He said he was going to take the proceeds from the retaliatory tariffs, which, I mean...
And what he's doing right now, if you look at what he said and what he's doing right now, you're like, he's actually making it worse by pretty much spitting in Trump's face by inviting Zelensky to everything he's doing is like one step further, one step further, one step further. Like, what's the next thing he's gonna say? He's gonna have to say something. There's gonna be another step this week that he's gonna do that most people are gonna say, "Oh, that is a great thing." Yeah, of course, you're spitting in the face of the U.S. even more now. Like, let's find a way to insult China. Let's insult Russia, China, and the U.S. Let's make sure we do all of that in the same week.
Let's make sure we piss off all the powerful players in the global state.
All the people that have a reason to want to invade us. Let's make sure that.
Let's
piss them off. Let's find a way to unite them.
Yeah,
fuck. Let's unite the US, Russia, and China against Canada.
Yeah.
There you go, Mark Carney. That's your homework for the week.
But and just like to one last thing before we keep playing this video, because I'm interested in what he says next. Just sort of like keep that in your mind as you watch this. It isn't necessarily that we're saying this is true, but ask yourself, if it were, for the sake of argument, let's assume that this is what Carney's doing. How would he behave? What are the things that he would do? And I think he's doing them so far. You know, nothing has been towards helping us. If you want to just, like, for me, I'm just going to assess whoever is prime minister for the next 6 months on this one question. is your decision on every single decision that you make. Does this help us get rid of tariffs, or does it hurt? Does it make it harder to get rid of tariffs? That's it. And so far, he's running 0 for 5 or 6 or 10 or however many decisions he's made. Nothing he has done has made it easier to get rid of tariffs. He's made harder.
But see, this is how you want to see it. I want to challenge people the other way around.
Okay.
If we assume that his goal is to install some type of UBI scheme, is he doing everything right in order to get to that goal?
Yeah, exactly. And so far, yes. I mean, if that is the goal, these are the things that you will do. Now, he could prove us wrong. If he tomorrow he comes out and gives some speech where he's like, you know what, might not agree with everything Donald Trump says, but Americans are our partners, our allies, shared history, brotherhood, rah, 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 whatever you want. And that my main priority is working with Donald Trump. Then you could maybe, you could say, okay, well, he's done something that's proved us wrong a little bit, but I highly doubt he's going to do that.
It's not looking good.
No.
Let's finish the video.
All right.
Frankly, that's the only thing that Canadians really care about right now, which is how can Canada stay strong? How can Canada shore up its alliances with other countries?
No, wrong. How are we going to deal with the tariffs? This is what I guarantee you. If you ask Canadians out there, their main concern is how are we the fuck dealing with those tariffs?
That's it.
That elbow up type of crap is bullshit. Nobody. And by the way, for all you people out there that are repeating that slogan, elbow up, elbow up, elbow up, do you realize that that's a term from hockey that's actually legal? You're literally hitting people in the face with your fucking elbows. Is that what Canadians stand for? We want to cheat our way into winning a game? Is that what we're standing for right now? Like, elbows up, bitches. Yeah, no. And chin down, because there's some fists that are coming our way. Hands up, chin down is what we should be saying.
Well, yeah, and it's like, if we were two evenly matched fighters, maybe you go that route, but this is not what's going on. I don't know if you remember the old ice hockey game remember regular Nintendo, the very first Nintendo. You had the 3 types of hockey players.
Ice hockey.
The super skinny guys, the medium size, and the big fatties. And the skinny guys just bounce off the big fatties. Like, we're the skinny guys, and they're the big fatties. Like, those elbow up are not going to do a thing. So you got to play the hand you're dealt, and we are not dealt the hand where we can be going in there with elbows up right now. Now, if you want to invest in our infrastructure, in our economy, get us energy export capacity on both coasts, we could be. 5-10 years from now, we could be that guy, but we're not now.
But until then, we need to figure out a deal with the U.S.
We have to.
And how can we steer ourselves through this difficult time? And I think there's no pretending that it's going to be not going to be a difficult time. I mean, everyone understands that, but this is it's the right move to work with others who are also facing similar threats and try and bring our alliances closer.
No, wrong.
The right move is to deal with the guy that's put the tariffs on. Not to go in to Europe and be like, oh, what an asshole Trump is.
We are not in the same boat as Europe. We're not in the same boat as China. We're not in the same boat as any other fucking nation in the world, because there's no other nation in the world that shares the largest border with the US. Yep, there's no other nation in the world that depends 75% of their imports the export is going to the US. There's not another country in the world that has been so reliant on the US like we have in the past. There's no such thing. Telling that we need to find other people in the same boat, they do not exist. No. We are the only one in this boat. Maybe Mexico could say that they're in the same boat as Canada, which is why they say that Canadians are just like the snow Mexicans. I don't know if you saw that. Oh, that was so funny. I thought that was fucking hilarious. But we need to stop thinking that there's another country in the world that's in the same situation as we are. We're not. There's not. There's zero. And we're not even like Mexico, because Mexico actually did something to please Trump. And I fucking hate, hate is not a good word. I don't hate people. I really dislike that people out there are trying to act like we have a say, like we're capable of doing something in regards to Trump. I'm not disagreeing with any of you. Do I agree with what Trump's doing? I don't. I don't think it's fair. I don't. But you know what? Who the fuck cares about what I'm saying? It doesn't matter how I feel about this. The situation is the same. It's like me getting hit by a car and I'm sitting on the side of the highway bleeding out. I'm like, I don't agree that I should have gotten hit by that car. We agree.
Unfair.
I agree with you. But does that change the fact that I'm still on the side of the highway bleeding
out?
No.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It does.
At that point, you know, you have to you take yourself to the hospital. You know, you don't like that's what you do. We need to go to the hospital.
And
you know,
and you know what? Going to Tim Hortons to talk about other
with other people
who got hit by a car instead of going to the hospital.
Bunch of cripples over in Tim.
That's what I'm gonna go see the cripples at Tim to get advice.
Yeah,
so we can unify against the car that hit me.
Yeah, maybe you should go to the hospital first. That's a great analogy. Because that's what we're doing.
Fuck.
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
Okay,
and
you know, fuck, man, we don't have time for more videos. We're over time right now. There's 3 more, man. I had 6. We went through 2, 3, but it's fine. That's what we do every day.
Yep, that's the show.
But we will take all your comments. Obviously, your comments always make us. They always make us happy. We love to interact with you guys. If we only get to talk about 2 things every show, don't matter. As long as you guys are here with your comments, your insults, your likes, your shares, whatever they might be, we love to interact with you guys. So again, fucking awesome. Thank you.
Prairie, they're going back to Justin and Pierre Trudeau. They're the only 2 prime ministers to ever use the Emergency Act. Trudeau 1 used the War Act, reform to the Emergency Act, and Trudeau number 2 during COVID. You know, it's a great slice of history because I actually was not aware of that fact. And that's continued. Trudeau used those.
Hold on, before you continue.
Yeah,
our viewers are intelligent people.
Yeah.
Congrats absolutely. To you guys.
Yeah, it's everyone here contributes a lot, and I mean, I think that hopefully is a testament to the kind of quality that we try to create here. Prairie says, I don't think those talks at Ford went down the other day went very well. No, I don't think so.
People were trying to sell it as they did, but I haven't heard.
Did Trump
anything yet?
Was there any
with Lutnick, like the conversation that was supposed to happen with the foreign minister Lutnick? It's not foreign minister, but it's Lutnick. They were supposed to go to Washington to talk about this. I don't think it went well either because I haven't heard it anywhere. So obviously, don't think that the best of things happened. We'll see. I'll keep an eye for it, Prairie, though, because I definitely want to talk about that.
Trump never gave us a bone or anything on that, did he? He never. I don't like. He wasn't going to remove tariffs, but yeah, I didn't hear anything. Nope. Jason, just an FYI, in America, leftists are not Democrats. In fact, they hate them more than Republicans because they criticize the DNC more than the GOP. Yeah, and that's true. I wanted to see so bad to see the
but it's not a conspiracy, bro.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. It's just going by what Carney's.
If it was a far-fetched conspiracy, I'll be the first one. You know what? I do have a metal helmet on, but it's not on the right head. You can't see it right now.
So what's that? That's the chastity belt there. Does your wife put it on you?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Under lock and key. Jason, looking forward to 4 p.m. Eastern time where Rob brings me up to speed on the Trudeau transition. Yeah, I'm going to be on Jason's show today at 4 p.m. Eastern time.
Good for you guys.
Yeah, we're going to talk about leftist things, liberal things, and stuff like that. But yeah, so if you guys are tuned to, if you follow me on Twitter, it's Rob _. Rob.
Are you going to be sharing it?
Yeah,
you're not. You can't.
Not on this one. I'm gonna be on Jason's. It's gonna be no, it's not gonna be through this platform. And if you want to follow Nico, that's at real Nico Lagan. But yeah, you guys should check that out for sure. Jason will be here on Wednesday as he always is. Prairie. I don't know about that analogy. When you go to the hospital, it was implied there is an emergency. Yes. Do you mean? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure I understand it.
Yeah, it would imply there is an emergency. Are you saying there is not? I assume you're talking about how Carney is going to declare the emergency.
Oh, yeah. When
Okay.
all he would have to do is to deal with Trump. So
you're saying
he's creating the emergency.
Yes.
Yeah,
You're saying that would be
I
a
get it.
real emergency if you get run over.
Okay,
by
we
a
agree.
car.
We agree.
Ford is supposed to be going back this week. Let's see it. I mean, at the end of the day, he's at least going there, right? He's at least,
and it's good exercise for Ford.
Yeah, he needs it.
I'm happy that he's doing the exercise, even if nothing happens out of it. Right? Might lose a few pounds.
Yeah, exactly. He could get back on the crack like his brother, and they'll probably cut some weight. Do you remember that video came out him smoking crack with the gang members?
Yep, as the mayor of Toronto.
Yeah. Whatever. Geez, that's some gangster shit though, for sure.
That's some crackhead gangster shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know what he was thinking, but
I don't think he was.
No,
I don't think he was.
Do you? What else do you got for us, Nico? Is that it?
For now, that's it. There was a few things I wanted to talk about, but technically we can push them to tomorrow. So not a big deal. The video about the nuclear power, the fusion power, I'll keep it for tomorrow. I'm already putting it in my notes for tomorrow, so no doubt I'll do my best. But they're timeless. Even if it takes me a week to bring them up, it's all good. But yeah, I want to thank every single one of you out there for being with us on the show. We appreciate your time. We know how much it's valuable to you and to us. Thank you for all the comments, and we'll be back tomorrow.
Yes, guys, thank you so much. Again, we really couldn't do the show without you guys. We love the engagement, love the audience. Keep coming back, and we're not just doing a show here. We're trying to build a community, and without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do that. And so thank you for that. And Jason's going to send us off with the mayor of Toronto said, this is a quote. So, Mom, don't get mad at me. Said, I didn't eat that girl's pussy. I have a wife and plenty to eat at home. This is the mayor of Toronto. So,
plenty to eat at home. Is he insinuating that his wife's fat?
I was just thinking that. How did she feel about that? Oh, man.
Ouch. You dropped it a few times on that one. He must have been on the crack again, right?
Oh,
maybe he was still buzzed.
Guys, I was smoking crack. Nothing I can do.
But
all right, guys.
Yes, my wife's fat. See you guys tomorrow.
Yes. Peace. And